Hello, my beautiful viewers all out there on E360. It is freezing cold. Look, it is freezing cold here in South Africa. And I know all of you are having hot flashes, not really hot flashes, but hotness in the northern hemisphere. You are on holiday. And tomorrow is Americans' big celebration, the 4th of July. Happy Independence, everyone. On Monday, my beautiful Christa, you in Canada had your big celebration day as well. Congratulations. So, my beautiful viewers out there, I hope that you are ready, and I hope that you gonna be steady, and I hope you will be ready to go because we're gonna introduce, and I've got a book here. Look, and it's a book. I've got Christa Rose's book here. I am truly excited. And she wrote here inside of me a beautiful message. And she said, you are my sunshine. Oh, mwah. Thank you, my beautiful Christa. And then we're going to quickly introduce the panelist is going to introduce themselves. And then we're going to ask Christa to introduce herself. And there's a question I wanted to ask her. And then we will start with the questions. So are you ready, my beautiful spotlight author Christa, and my beautiful Laura and Howard for our questions? Are you ready? Where is it now? Howard, where's your glasses? This is Howard's one. Ready? Steady? Go! Laura, can you please introduce yourself? And then we go over to Howard and then our beautiful spotlight author, Christa, sorry.
Yes. Thank you. Thank you. This is so cool because this is family and this feels like an intimate kind of gathering. I miss our other two panelists, of course, Buddy and Randy, but they're involved with personal things. But I feel kind of special because it's us and we get to really talk with Christa about just her amazing life story. I love it. I'm excited. I'm Laura Brennan Ballet. I am a thought energy expert all around the world, like all of us. Top selling, best selling books, speaking engagements. I'm actually coming up on my close to my 100th episode, and a shout out to my beautiful Howard Brown for his podcast. But I get interviewed all over the globe, and it's such an amazing platform where we can share our stories and all of what we're doing. So I love being here, and I love uplifting and inspiring and empowering our listening audience. So you can check me out wherever. I'm all over the place. But today it's all about Christa Rose. So thank you.
And Sunday it will be 101 because you are coming Sunday to the Power Hour TV show.
Yep.
Howard?
Yes, can you hear me?
Yes.
Yes.
Everyone can hear me. Okay. So I'm so glad to be here. Oh, Sanette, this is such a joy to have a platform where we can talk about authorship before, during, and after, and the impact that it drives. And so this platform that you present with the author journey, I want to thank you, my dancing queen. It's a beautiful thing. Also, shout out to Randy Blake with Baby Boom Boom on the way, a little boy coming, and then Buddy with you, brother. We love you as well. So I am the original Mr. Shining Brightly, of course. And I actually am a best-selling author, and everyone's putting on their glasses, and I'm in the spotlight now for my book, Shining Brightly. And I do a lot of motivational speaking because we all get knocked down in life and in business and in health and in relationships, and we have to get back up again. And so I'm thrilled. And I have a top 5% podcast called The Shining Brightly Show. And Laura is coming in very soon into mid-August. She'll be shining brightly with me. A great show. And Christa, you're up. We got to get you scheduled. So I'm so excited to be here as well. And I have the book, and I got a hug in New York. Well, this was on the big Jumbotron. It was incredible. And basically she tells me that I inspire her and I am to live the life I love, and I will, and I do. Thank you, my dear. So glad to be here.
Well, thank you, my beautiful Howard. So, my beautiful Christa, Angel is giving you and she said, thank you to Sunit for this show. So, my beautiful angel, thank you for being my beautiful Krista, our spotlight author, and an amazing, beautiful friend of mine. And you are my sunshine. Please introduce yourself and then can you tell us how did this book inspired you to see how the impact you have on the world?
Mm.
That's wonderful. And again, I just echo everybody else. Thank you so much for the show, this platform. I want to thank everybody who's watching, not just now, but on YouTube later and commenting on it and sharing it because the messages here are golden and the opportunities are amazing. So I want to thank everybody. So first of all, yes, my name is Krista. I'm from Ontario, Canada. It is warm here. And I'm an author of Skip the Pain, Experience the Pleasure. And my tagline is cut the crap that's holding you back so you can live the life you love. But wait,
Mhm.
I'm also a two-time best-selling co-author. I co-authored this book, and with, of course, our beautiful Sinette, and we made Amazon #1 bestseller. So my story's in there. Very, very, very proud of both these books, and yeah, I'm a healthcare advocate. I'm very, very passionate about that, about bringing awareness to invisible diseases and rare diseases, and energy work, making that more the norm with holistic healing. And what really lights me up is with my background in nutrition, I like to work with people, whether it be on stages or whether it be one on one, whether it be on podcasts or on TV shows, because I really want to help inspire them to, you don't have to just live a life you like, you can live the life you love.
Mm.
Wow.
Bravo.
So, Laura, can you see Angel tells beautiful Howard, thank you, Howard. And she said, beautiful sunshine. And then she said to beautiful Krista, congratulations, so excited. So, my beautiful Krista, my question is, how do you feel seeing what your book, the impact your book have on others? And then we will be going over to Laura to ask her first question. But here is somebody from Australia. So they are already in the future. They are already on Thursday morning. Wendy, she said, congratulations, Crystal, listening from Brisbane, Australia. And you and Wendy know each other, Crystal. So, my beautiful Crystal, can you please answer us with that? How you feel seeing your impact your book has on in the world?
You know, I am so blessed and so full of gratitude for the messages I've been receiving. So, literally the other day, there was a gentleman, and middle aged, and he came up and he told me the same story. Another person said he's reading my book, and he has a daughter who has a rare illness, and he's going to be getting another book for her because he wants to keep his own book so he can write notes, and knowing that it impacted him enough that he wants to share my message with his daughter. And then he says, can we connect, you guys? And then, of course, my website is christarose.com. And he started connecting us. That's one small amount. And then I've been watching, kind of it go globally as people like all of you, the podcasts and the TV shows and people sharing it have been impacted because of the messages I keep getting and the different gifts. And I'm, like I said, I'm so full of gratitude because that was my mission for this book. It wasn't to make a book that was depressing, that was long, that was going to tell you all the terrible things about my life. I didn't want to focus on that. I already did. That was my first book.
Mhm.
I shut that one down. And so that's why I made this book, and which is a short, easy, funny. I added that funny twist to it to keep the readers engaged, but still wanting to share the messages the deep insights that change lives. So I'm over the moon, as you would say.
Wow, thank you, my beautiful Christa. My beautiful Laura.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you. So, my family here understands the way my brain thinks. So I'm always looking to go really kind of deep into how you can help support the listeners. And we know there's so many different styles, right, in the human condition, and how people can really gain new perspectives and tools and techniques. And when you read your book, you automatically do get that. But on a personal note, I'd like to ask you how you navigate between the pain and the pleasure. Those two words, I think, really activate a lot of thinking in kind of the mindset of those who look at the book. And there's a big space between those two experiences. So when you're maybe in pain, but you want to get to more pleasure, how do you navigate the space in between that?
Awesome question, Laura. I was so excited to talk to you about this. I'm going to be completely honest, because of your thought energy, and you're kind of like the queen of that. So thank you for that question. And I purposely wrote that title, saying the pain and the pleasure because of the duality,
Mm,
in it. So we all experience pain in different ways. It can be physically, it can be emotionally, it can be mentally and spiritually. So for me personally, I use this acronym and it's called WAIT, WAIT. And the first WAIT stands for What Am I Thinking? So I will literally stop when I start going down the rabbit hole. There's this statistic that said we have about 70,000 thoughts a day. 98% of them are from before, are repetitive thoughts, and 80% of them are negative. I mean, I didn't even think I thought that much. So, and then when I started putting that into practice and looking at myself and realizing, becoming aware. Awareness is the key, number one. Once you're aware of it, and it started, and I write about this a little bit in my book. And so, using an example of, I was making coffee, and my dog, whose name is Hope, was there, and all I was doing was thinking about someone the other day who, whatever, criticized me, and I knew I was in the right, and I started feeling resentful. I started feeling angry. So all these feelings came up. And I literally said, wait, what am I thinking? And then I said, what do I want to think instead? So I go to the now. And what do I want to think is, I'm really going to enjoy this hot cup of coffee because I woke up way too early this morning. And I went and cuddled my puppy, and so switching that mindset, literally from the pain that I was feeling in my own thoughts to the pleasure of what I focused and what I wanted. So instead of what I didn't want, I switched it to what I did want. So
right.
yeah.
That's beautiful. Thank you. I love that answer. I think it's really unique that we get to have the author's insight, how they're thinking and how they, again, move and navigate through these experiences. And for many of us, our titles are not just a random title, there's so much behind it. So thank you for sharing that. Really appreciate it.
Thank you.
Wow, thank you. Howard, I thought you were frozen because you were smiling the whole time like that. So while we're going to try and get Howard back, I just quickly want to mention beautiful Julie, your beautiful Julie. And we also met her in New York. She said, I have Krista's book. She's amazing energy and fortuit. She is gone through so much and managed invisibility ready. She is inspiration. And then she says, congratulations. And then your hubby is here. So impactful. Thank you, Darren. So my beautiful Howard, if you do hear us, you are frozen.
I sent him a
So
message.
Oh, you did. Thank you so much. So let me then go to my question. I actually have it in the book, so if you can just let me allow me to put my glasses on. So first of all, it was very insightful that on top of the book. Of the chapter, and let me just see what chapter it is. Just give me 1 second. There
Yeah, the
is
chapter
like a
titles are kind of, breaks you a
chapter
little bit,
10.
but
Chapter 10. So chapter 10, you have this F and then this,
yes,
that.
yeah.
So why did you decide to do that?
So, first of all, I wanted to get the reader's attention. You know, a lot of times you can look at an index and you can skim through it and say no. So, when it says, that word, and it's such a strong word, and it's forgiveness. Forgiveness is such a strong word. So I wanted to make sure I found a way to emphasize that word. So there was a lot of ways I could emphasize it, and I think that really took the cake. So forgiveness is so much more than saying sorry, because as a lot of us know, sometimes it's very hard to forgive somebody because you feel like you're chained to this past trauma, or you're holding on to these resentments, and your just heart is just broken. So for myself, when I had to go through my own forgiveness journey, and it definitely was a forgiveness journey, I looked at lots of different things. And, there's a saying, and I'm sure many of you have heard, it's like drinking poison and expecting the other person to die. That's what, if you don't forgive, it's just hurting yourself. Once I realized that, I started letting myself be free. So Oprah actually talked about it, and she's a huge inspiration to me anyway. And as she explained, is that we're not forgiving that the act is okay. We're not saying that it's okay what they did, what they said, what they made you feel like. We're not saying it's okay. We're saying that you're not going to hold power over me anymore. You're not going to hold the pain over me anymore. So I forgive you. And you cut that chain, and guess what? They're the ones holding that anchor, that ball and chain, and you're set free. So I really wanted to give as much of an emphasis on that whole chapter. There's much more I wrote in the book about it, but because so many people are stuck in that feeling of guilt and shame because they haven't learned the art of forgiveness. So, hi Howard.
I love,
Can
I
you hear me?
love that. Yes,
Yes,
we can
sir.
hear you. So a part of that that I actually have marked, also my beautiful Krista, is the sabotage. And you talk about sabotage and perfectionism. Can you give us one advice, and then we will move to Howard? One advice to prevent self sabotage.
So that was huge for me in many parts of my life. A lot of times it's conditioning, how you grew up. So for me, I would get validation if I was so called the good girl. And then I would also not take chances like this. So I would self sabotage myself. I'm not good enough to be a writer. Who am I to be amongst these amazing people? I mean, so successful. So that self sabotage would hold me back. So, what I ended up doing is basically having to get outside my comfort zone no matter what. So, I started saying yes. Whatever it was, I said yes. I made some boundaries. Let's put that out there. But I said yes, and I pushed through it anyway. And every time I do a speaking engagement, I still have a little bit of that imposter syndrome. Like, am I really, good enough to speak about this? Are they really going to be interested in this? And then when I walk off, that feeling of, of just being light And I know I didn't self-sabotage myself, because if I didn't do that, I wouldn't have been able to inspire all those people. If I didn't write my book, I wouldn't have been able to help so many people. So that's how I work through self-sabotage, getting out of my comfort zone and my perfectionism. If there's something wrong, done is better than perfect.
Yeah.
Love it. I love it. I love you. My beautiful Howard, all over to you.
Oh
He's so smiley.
no, Howard. He was. All right, let's give him just a moment. If you can hear us, go
I
back
can
out.
hear you.
Oh, good. We
Okay,
couldn't
you're
hear
back
you.
here.
I hear you. All right, well, I'm back. So I'll be quick. So this tagline, I remember in the middle of Times Square, me, you, Sinette, and Natalie screaming, "Cut the crap! He's holding you back!" And I brought a little present here. So in the colorectal cancer world, we have something called poop
Yes.
emojis. So I want to show this on the screen. All right. So I want you to see this. These are squeezy. This is poop, right? So cut the crap. I want you to give me a big karate chop and chop the poop. We're going to cut the crap right now. Give it. One,
Ready?
two, cut the crap. Cut it. Yes.
There you
Yeah.
go.
Boom. All right. So we're cutting the crap. I want to know why that's your tagline, and why did you put that on there? Why is that so important?
Yeah, that's a fantastic question, because I think most people are shocked by it, because I wanted to be real. My
Yes.
first title of my book, I don't need to say it, but it was boring. It wasn't real, and it wasn't authentically me. Not that I'm not necessarily sarcastic, but it's being authentic. It's not saying I want you to live the life you love by, walking and only thinking good thoughts. I mean, it's great to say that, but I wanted to put it as kind of in your face, as bluntly as possible. So, as a saying that here anyway, we know, basically cut the crap, cut it out. Stop everything that's going through your mind, everything that's stopping you from living the life you love. So, yeah, cut the crap that's holding you back, all those limiting beliefs that we're saying over and over and over to ourselves that are not serving us. So, once we cut them out, cut the limiting beliefs out, and it's not holding us back, then we're able to step in to the life we love. We step away from fear and we step into a life we love.
Nice.
I love it because we can make a lot of excuses and we can live in the darkness and the negativity, and you have to not do that. It's not healthy. So I love that you pointed out. I love that it's in your face, and it does make your cover very interesting. Thank you.
Thank you.
So,
That's
Howard,
awesome.
you are welcome to ask another question, and then we will go to Laura.
Okay. So this book, I want to know a little bit without teasing the book. People need to get the book, first of all. It's very helpful. It's a very good, and it's a very pleasurable read, but you can learn a lot. So listen, you've had some tough days. I've had some tough days. Okay. We all get knocked down, and we've gotten knocked down because of our health. And how did you build your resilience? Sometimes when you just couldn't even get out of bed, how did you build yourself back up?
That's a fantastic question, because there was a time, and for a long time period, that I didn't. I laid in bed, and I almost call it patient syndrome or sick syndrome, because if I'm sick and people see me sick, then I start getting like I was getting nervous what people thought of me. So I would start isolating more and more. So when you start doing that, I start getting weaker and weaker. So it
Mm,
was literally a mindset change. It was a decision. One decision, one day, literally, I was laying in bed and I could hear my family having dinner at the table. And I thought, yes, I was in pain. Yes, different things was happening. I had, just every type of test you can imagine, bone marrow biopsy, spinal taps, and you can name the amount of needles. Howard, I know know you get that. So, although I was in pain, I thought I can be still in pain, but be around my family. And that's what helped step by step build my resilience. I had to pull out my walker. And I went over there, I put a little bit of chapstick on, threw my hair in a ponytail. And when I went out and seen the faces on my family,
Mm.
because they normally would see me as this weak kind of person in bed, and part of it was I was afraid. I didn't know what would happen when I would come out, if I would have, an attack or a spasm. Many people don't understand rare diseases or invisible diseases, because right now everybody might be looking at me and saying she looks fine, but you don't know that I had to lay down an hour and a half before to get enough energy to be able to be on this show, because I overdid it yesterday. So I do take responsibility for that. But so step by step, I had to start changing my mindset. And then once I was sitting with my family, you know, something as simple as that, and there was no judgment. I started opening up to friends and family. Again, all this fear of judgment that they're going to
Yeah.
look at me, and there was nothing. They were happy. We had conversations. The day went on. And resilience to me is it's not just keep going. It's keep going even when you don't want to, because I'm going to be honest, Howard, there was many days I did not want to.
Right.
But that was the test, when I had to keep going despite that. And the more I did it, it was like a muscle. And I'm not saying it doesn't come back, those shadows, those thoughts. Um, but I am able to go back to wait, what am I thinking and what do I want to think instead? And I use the terms I used to. So back then, I used to use a walker, but now I'm using a cane. And then I would throw in the word because I'm getting strong using my physio's exercises to dance with my husband at our anniversary. So keeping all those little steps and all those little words kept building my resilience.
Mhm.
I love it because you just said don't isolate and keep effing going. You just need to keep powering
Yeah.
forward, even if it's a baby step, even if it's a step backwards. And I love that because you needed to do that in order to heal.
Yes.
Resilience is a muscle, and you had to build it back up, and that's what you did. And I'm so proud of you. And I wish I could jump across the Detroit River, across the bridge, and give you a hug right now.
Yeah.
Thank you. Me
Well,
too. Me too.
Um, amazing. Christine, she is part of our Amazing Soul of a Diamond book compilation. She said, amazing, my
mm.
beautiful Laura.
Yeah, I just love the flow of the conversation again. This isn't, I mean, I know we're asking questions, but it doesn't feel like we're interviewing our friend. It really does feel like we're having, a gathering, and we're talking about life and real tools and techniques that I think the listeners can pick up on and apply. And this is so I wanted to focus a little bit on your acronym, WAIT. And when you are in the process of having to rely on that in order to get you ahead of something, what do you do when one of the answers isn't quite enough to activate, right, the transformation? Do you repeat it? Do you keep recalibrating it? And I know you touched upon that just a little bit with Howard, but for those of us that are sitting out there, and I've just listened to what I think the most recent summit that you just did, and you were really talking so beautifully, embracing your vulnerabilities and this authenticity around insecurity and fear. And it is really important, I think, for the general population to know that even if you are an author and a speaker and you have these accreditations, there's hardships and challenges that we all go through. So, how can you help guide the listeners when they want to use this weight technique? So, even if the answers are a bit negative, how can you keep going so it really is an empowering tool for them?
Yeah, this helped me so much, and thank you for asking. So I'll continue what WAIT stands for. So not only what am I thinking, WAIT, why am I talking? So a
Mm,
lot of times when we get together, what do? We complain. I'm gonna call myself out. How are you doing? Oh my goodness, I can barely move, or I had this done and this hurts, and you can start complaining, and next thing you know, the other person starts complaining about what's going wrong in their world, and something happened with their mother, or some alien stole their kid, and the person next to them was feeling good until they realized, oh man, I think I have a headache too. So you see how this
yeah.
negativity starts rippling out just by our words that we used. So I started, and then also gossiping. That was really
Mm,
big for me because I was bullied a lot as a kid.
mm,
People would spread all sorts of rumors about me. And I literally say, you have no idea what's going on behind closed doors. And it can lead to death. You have no idea. So when you're gossiping, one person can add one more thing, add one more thing. And there's a saying, I'm not going to say who I believe said it because I don't want to get it wrong, but it says, it takes 25 years to build a reputation, but only one moment, or 2 seconds to, you know, to kill
destroy
it.
it. Yeah.
Yeah. So again, it is a muscle, and it was a muscle. And this is a little bit funny because I just spoke to my mom, and she watched the summit, and she says, Krista, you won't believe it. And she says, I was in a doctor's office, and she's having an appointment with my stepfather. And she says, I started down this rabbit hole, and I start saying, these negative things. And I said,
Mm.
wait, and it actually worked. So
Yeah, that's so
having that
cool.
feedback from my mom,
Yeah.
and so it's literally, again, awareness, catching yourself. But the barometer for me, and one of the things I try to teach people, or I try to, express, is use a barometer of your emotions. So
Mhm.
when your emotions start dropping to sadness, to fear, to guilt, to shame, to anger, to resentment, start wondering, what am I thinking? Am I thinking that? What am I saying? Am I gossiping? Am I complaining? Am I talking because I want to make myself look good, but then really I'm feeling, all this stuff. So the way our emotions are really a good barometer. And then again, taking back and really think about what you want to say, because your mind doesn't know the difference between what you say and what you think and what is real. So that all becomes your reality. So watching what you say, putting positive out there, and little things like starting off and having an intention. I have an intention every single day. And one of them was I picked up the phone randomly and I left a voicemail. Yes, I called. I called on a phone. I didn't send a text. And I left a message. And I just wanted to say, in case you didn't know, I wanted to say thank you for all your help and support and love while I was in the hospital. And I did get a text back, which is fantastic, but it was like out of the blue. So why am I talking? And so it's not only catching yourself in the moment, but also being proactive in doing it. And the more you do it, the more gratitude you get, and then your emotions start getting up and you start feeling better.
I love that. Thank you. Beautiful answer, of course. Love it.
I
Very
loved it.
helpful. Yeah, very helpful, I think, to the listeners, right? They can really apply what you're saying. It's we get that. I'm feeling a bit negative. I'm talking right negatively to
Mhm.
myself, to others. I'm joining in an area that isn't quite uplifting or inspiring or kind. And let me now really figure out how I can change that. So wonderful.
You know
Thank you.
what really got me one day too, and this was like another one of those aha moments. So we're trying on bathing suits, me and a couple friends, and being this age, and I have 3 children,
Uh-huh.
so I kept making this comment that, I wasn't going to wear this bikini or bathing suit because I have like this roadmap of stretch marks. I really don't. It's not that bad. And yes, I'm exaggerating, but I didn't realize how self conscious that made my friend, who really did. But
Yeah.
she was really proud of the weight that she did lose. And my comment that I thought I was making about myself was
Yeah.
actually impacting her. So I almost I could see it playing out like almost as a third person. And then so I turned it around and said, but you know what? I'm so proud because I have three beautiful children, out of this. And it took a lot of work to get my body back to, where it is. And look at you. I'm so proud that you're stepping into yourself. And again, the words we talk, what we say to ourselves, and it also can impact others. So, and we don't realize that.
Yeah.
I
Beautiful.
love that. And
Mm.
in chapter 8, the chapter is called Wait for It. You
Mhm.
actually talked about where your focus goes, your energy goes. So this is quite beautifully said, what you just said, that words is how important words is. And coming back to that statement of where your focus goes, your energy goes. Do you have maybe a tool or a suggestion where people, I know people, you said people can change their words, but also their energy, because sometimes when you're in a downward spiral, people cannot seem to get out of that.
Mm.
You've got a tip or two for us?
Absolutely. And this is something that I've had to use. So, one of the tips is get to a state of being grateful, even if it's being grateful for having a bed, for a pillow, for having clothes, for having the ability to breathe. Because
Mm.
for a few days, I didn't have the ability to breathe. I was on
Mm.
a ventilator. So getting into a state of gratefulness, because no matter how bad you think you have it, I guarantee what you have is someone else's dream.
Mm.
Once I hang on to that, I try to even elevate myself even more. Reaching out and talking, surround yourself with people who uplift you, not who drag you down, and reach out to them and start having a conversation. And another tool that I use all the time and I love is I put on music. I put on
Mm.
music. I'll start dancing. I did actually before here. It was I just started like, okay, I need some energy, and I was like laughing. I was dancing. Next thing you know, I'm feeling happy, and this just it raises my vibration. So those are just a few little tools. Some people can say they meditate. They can you take walks in nature. I like actually just walking on the grass, just bare feet. That's
Mm.
it. It doesn't. I don't even have to go into like anywhere. Cause and then you get into the moment, and then my focus isn't on all the stuff that's not even happening in the future, but I'm
Mm.
so worried. And all that is, it's an overactive imagination running wild. We're making up some stuff that could happen. Um, and when it comes down to it, focus on right now because we don't know if we're going to have that moment. As
Mm.
when I talk in my book, and as I know you guys know, I lost my first husband to leukemia. We only knew for 2 weeks. He was the
Mm.
healthiest sick man you've ever seen. He didn't drink, a social drinker, didn't smoke. He didn't even have high cholesterol, everything. So
Mm.
you never ever know when you're going to take your final breath. So focus on what you want. That's a really big thing. And even if it starts with gratitude, being thankful for what you have already.
Yeah. Love
I
that.
love it. So I'm going to hand over to Howard in a second, but I want to tell you, Julie, Coach Julie, say yes, excellent advice. Words are impactful, even with your self talk. I love it. I
Mm.
love it. I love it. Howard, my miracle
So
man.
thank you. So, Krista, I love the fact that you were dancing. We know our dancing queen, right above you, and also putting your feet in the grass. finding that happy place is so important, and you emphasize that. I want to go and point out chapter 9. It's called Pleasing Myself and Investing in Your Self-Care, which essentially is for self-love. And I got to tell you that this is a really important chapter because it starts with actually looking after yourself emotionally, physically, potentially financially, and in relationships. And I love the fact that you summarize it you have these takeaways that are just all diamond gems, right? And so if you could kind of go through a couple of those of why you need to do that in order to build your resilience, to get back up again, and to make things a better day, that would be really helpful.
So, first of all, I want to point out that self care and self love is not a luxury, it's a
Mm.
necessity. And people get that confused. I know for myself, I did, because being a people pleaser and wanting to make sure everybody else was comfortable, suddenly I started losing myself. So once I started paying attention to myself and what do I need? I needed to get over my money blocks because um, when I was younger, if there was a light turned on, it was, oh my goodness, how much it was going to cost. So as I grew up, I wouldn't even spend money on myself. I had no problems giving money to my kids to go in the mall to get something, but I would eat some, something left over. Something as little as taking time out for yourself and to reconnect with your spiritual side. That's not a religion. Let me just point that out. It may be for some people, but to reconnect with your higher self and your higher purpose. And it totally encompasses mind, body, and soul. Mind is so important because I truly believe that when we are all over with our mind and our thoughts and and our beliefs, it will physically come out in your body. You become weaker. Diseases can come out more. Um, everything will start happening. And if you don't start taking care of yourself, you can literally start getting weaker and weaker. I know for myself, Howard, I know I'm sure you can identify. There's lots of days and lots of days of pain, and I want to just go and keep going. But that's the time you have to remember how important it is self-care and self-love, because if you don't do that, if you don't fill yourself up with self-love, you can't give it to someone else. Um, yeah, so it's super important. So I have to take the time. Again, it's not a luxury, it's a necessity to take care of myself first. So then I'm able to be there to inspire and offer hope and to be on shows like this and to be with you beautiful people.
I love it. It's a very important chapter, and that's why I needed you to highlight it. Really important. Thank you for that.
Wow. I love that. My beautiful Laura.
Yeah, so I want to bring something to the forefront that I think is super interesting about Christa, that maybe the average person who is listening, meaning read the book, but didn't maybe see you on other, stages, etc. You have a very beautiful interest in what I'm going to call esoteric or spiritual teachings, such as the Akashic Records. There's a very deep spiritual component to who you are. How do you think that comes into play when you really need to cut the crap? Because not everyone, right? Either, they have such a divine relationship with God, but yet there's all of these challenges in there, or they are really working on having universal connectivity, but that's kind of out there. There's not really these set points, right, that people feel really grounded in. But this is something I think really interesting about you. And I think it really broadens who you are as a human being and how you relate to people that you work with. So I just thought maybe you might be able to share just a few moments of that that's interesting to you, because I think it's interesting to some of us that really look at the whole picture.
Thank you. That's a great question. And I'm going to say myself, I mean, I was raised a religion and I religiously followed the rules. But did that mean I was a spiritual person? It's kind of like saying, you're Christian if you go to a church, Is it the same thing if you stay in a garage? Does that make you a car? you know, um, but I'm going to be honest. For me, when I saw the
I
when
know.
I saw that car,
Hold
just
on.
take a moment
You
here.
gotta enjoy that for a moment.
Everyone
That
just
was
stay in
so
their
funny.
garage.
It was. So now she's trying not to laugh, and
Cool.
then I'm trying not to laugh at her, and then Howard catches it. That's so great. Oh my God, this is why I
I
love
like the light bulb moments, and also it was like a
Oh my
domino
God.
effect. Like, oh, I got it. But so
Oh,
speaking of cars, so in my car accident, I was sitting there, and when I saw those, so I was in a snowbank, and for the readers who haven't read it, and I saw this full-size pickup truck coming straight at me, and I saw these lights greater than life, and I held on. And what did I say? Oh my God, please God.
yeah.
What do we do at the moments when it's life altering? Suddenly, we seem to want to connect with something higher than ourselves, and we don't even know it. It kind of comes out naturally, or something happens, says, "Oh, please, God, help them." We'll pray for them. So I think innately, we all have this spiritual. I'm just going to say it's a word. It's a human word. We put the words SPIR. Okay, you know how to spell. So we put the words, you know, what it really is, it's a relationship. It's a relationship that you cultivate yourself with something that's higher than yourself. It could be your higher version of yourself that you want to be. It could be source. It can be the creator. It could be the God of your understanding. It could be a God that you do worship. It can be all of it. It can be the universe, the universal energy. And so there's really no right answer. It's when it comes down to it, it's a relationship that you cultivate. So for myself, there was different techniques as well of manipulating energy. One of them is Reiki, and it's placing your hands on different parts of your body, and it puts a person at a state of relaxation and healing. And I actually had it proven to me, because I'm not saying I wasn't like a doubter. I was already attuned before, but I had 32 electrodes stuck in my head, and I'm in the neurology unit, and they're watching my brain waves. And I end up winning, coincidentally, again, see how the universe seems to work, a distant Reiki. And so that night she did it. And the next morning, the neurologist came in and said, there was no like type of seizure-ish activity or no episodes last night. And I told him, like, quite honestly, I said, well, I don't know if this has anything to do with it, but this is what happened. And he goes, you know what? I've heard that before. so, so it starts, I started really diving into it, and then diving into our own intuition. You know how you have that gut feeling? We're born with that. You look at babies, what do? They naturally know, and they'll crawl up to the mother. They naturally have the instinct to eat, to get the milk. So they already have that, innate intuition. And as we grow and as we get older, we can get conditioned to question it. But for me, I started listening to it more and more, kind of listening to those whispers and listening to the gut feelings. And I was able to develop those gifts a little bit more. And the Akashic Records is something that I was like, Akasha, what? I had no idea what it was. And I won it on a VIP summit. And is basically is you go into your records after saying like a certain prayer, and your own guide or spirit guides or team, and it basically looks at your past DNA, your lineage, and kind of where you were and how it affects you now. So the insecurities you have now that you don't even know you had may have been because of some long lost, whatever, way back. And using that information, you can look at what patterns may happen in the future. Now, the future hasn't happened yet, so we're not predicting the future, but we're saying that, likely can happen. So it's to bring awareness. So I got certified in doing that. And yeah, I just absolutely love it. The more and more I do it, the more and more it brings me happiness.
Thank you for sharing. And that's why I really wanted to ask and bring this to the forefront, because there are people, we're so unique, but yet we are so similar. But you may speak of universal energy. Someone may speak God energy. Someone may never have thought about Reiki. I too went through a Reiki process. I had a terrible time coming out of anesthesia from a surgery. And I had the foresight and the intuition to have a Reiki therapist there, and it changed the whole outcome. And the doctors were like, what is this? But they gave me permission to bring her in, and it calmed the nervous system down so the body could heal what it needed to heal. So I just think it's interesting for people. We gain new perspectives when we talk to authors. We have insights that maybe we never would have gathered if we just read a book. And again, this is I think the beauty and the power of what Sinette has put together for our global community. And this is a great example. You walk away and you hear something interesting, and it might spark something in you and really create a new pathway for someone else. So thank you again for really expressing the unique, I think, kind of interest that you have that really help you be this very well-rounded, human being. So thank you for sharing that.
Thank you for asking.
Yeah.
Wow. So, my beautiful Krista and Laura and Howard, our show is over. We had an amazing time. So, Krista, if you can give me in less than a minute, how are you feeling?
I am feeling so grateful again for all of you for bringing these messages for me to hopefully inspire other people. So I'm feeling fantastic. I'm feeling full of hope, and I'm feeling joy and happiness and love. So thank you to all of you.
Oh, thank you. In that instance, I want to give you. And then I want to say, my beautiful viewers out there, put on your shades, as Laura called it. We call it glasses. Put on your
Shades.
glasses. And my beautiful Diamond Beauties and Tanzanite Hero group, let us ask first my beautiful guests and panelists if they want to have a dance with me, and then I will come to you. Will you have a dance with me?
Of course.
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
My beautiful viewers out there, will you have a dance with us? They said yes. They said yes. Here we go.
Walking on sunshine or dancing in the rain. Sprinkle me with fairy dust so I can fly away. Smiling at
How is
moonbeam or squinting in the sun. Sprinkle me with fairy dust and cover me with love.
Hi, everyone.
Bye,
Bye.
everyone. Thank you.